So in your notes packet or on your notes packet, good idea is to write the YouTube channel so you can find it later if you're absent. So it's going to be A and then space and Tran-bloom. Okay. So A and space Tran-bloom. So you go to YouTube, you type that in, you should find your Algebra 2 notes and normally my pre-calc honors notes. Okay. Bless you. Okay, let's graph. Some of you already know how to graph, okay? Let's remind ourselves really quickly. There are three forms of your linear. One is called the slope-intercept form. The slope-intercept form is what you guys mostly know is y equals mx plus b. Then the point-slope form. Point-slope form is quite easy, by the way, to graph. All you got to do is find the point. So if you're given y minus k, some k value equals some slope, m times the quantity of x minus h. What is the point in this equation? The point is what? H comma k. Yeah, h comma k. So if it's in point slope, take out the point, identify the slope, you plot the point, and then you go rise over run. Okay? So point slope form, it's also very, very easy to graph. You identify the point, you identify the slope, and graph just like what you would do with slope-intercept form. Standard form, it's when you are going to be looking for the x and y-intercept. Okay? So that's when you would need 2 points. Sometimes it's easy to use standard form, and sometimes it is not. So we have to be smart of when to use what. And this is the lecture for that. Number one, if you don't have a straight edge, I have a class sets of rulers up there, or just take out your ID. So make sure your lines are straight. Okay. Or an index, or anything that makes straight lines. An ID is a great tool to straighten up your lines. Or I have a class set of rulers over there. Go grab one. A Starbucks card, a credit card, driver's license. Okay. Okay. Example 1, y equals -1 over 2x plus 6. Raise your hand if you guys remember this from Algebra 1. Where do you start?
6.
Positive 6, right? We're going to go 6. So count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. Okay. We started at 6. Another question. Now what do you do? What's your slope? What is your slope? That's right. M is -1 over 2. I can put the negative on the top, or I can put the negative on the bottom. It's okay to do either. Sometimes you run out of space on one end. So this means what? What's your rise? Or what's your run? What? Down 1? When you say over, what direction? Right, okay. If I use this, because this is your negative, so you're going to go down 1 to the right 2. Down 1 to the right 2. If I use this, positive 1 over -2, what direction are you going? Up 1 and to the left. Okay, so make at least 3 to 4 points so that way your lines are super straight. The more points you make, the straighter your line, and then use your straight edge and connect them. No freestyle on lines, okay? They don't look very good. Again, the more points you make, the straighter it's going to be. Do we need arrows on the ends? Yes, because just because that's all the space we're given doesn't mean the line ended right there. So that's your y equals mx plus b form. Number 2, what format is that, class? Point slope. Let's identify the point and the slope. Class, what is the point in that point slope form? -7. Why -7? I do. I have to take the opposite, right? -7 is the x-coordinate. What's the y-coordinate? +5. What's your slope? 2/3. Go and plot your -7, 5. How do I plot -7, 5? What direction am I going? To the left, what? 7 and up 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then up 2, 4, 5. From there, can I start going rise over run? Yep. Rise is 2, go up 2, run 3. I want you to count until the end of the grid. If one side's it's already done, then go. By the way, can I go down 2 and left 3 as well? Yep. Okay. I want you to make the dots until the grid is. And then use your straight edge. Don't freestyle. Yes. Because you have a Poincare form here. You see it? It's y minus k. Yeah. Equals m times quantity of x minus h. But the point is h comma k. So because it's a minus h, but we take the positive h to make a point, and we take a positive k to make you a point. Okay? Good job. Questions on 1 and 2? Okay. 3 and 4. What type of equations are 3 and 4? Standard, and really pretty much 5. So in standard, we are now going to find the x and y-intercept. We are going to find 2 points. How do we find the x-intercept in example 3? X-intercept is when y equals to what? 0. X-intercept is when y equals to 0. So what's 0 times -3? It's 0. Do you guys remember, did your teacher at all said cover it up? If you're looking for the x-intercept, you cover up the y. And then if you're looking for the y-intercept, you cover up the x. Okay, that's the reason why. Because 0 times the -3, it's gone. So that means you only have 4x equals -24 left. Divide both sides by 4. That means x equals -6. X and y-intercept, they are 2 different points. So we are going to rewrite this as a point. Okay, a point has an x-coordinate and a y-coordinate. So that's your x-intercept. Y-intercept, we are going to do very similar to x-intercept. Y-intercept is when x equals to what? 0. What do we cover now? X. Okay, we are going to go and cover up x. So if I cover up x, what do I have left? -3y equals -24. Divide both sides by -3. Y comes out to be 8. How do you write that as a point? 0, comma, +8. I have 2 points. Can I graph the 2 points? Yep. All right. Graph the first one. 6, -6, comma 0. You're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Make that dot over there. Okay. 0, comma 8. You're going to go on the y-axis. You have 2 dots. Use your straight edge. Connect the 2 dots. Again, this is a review from Algebra 1. So let me know if you don't remember. And if you know how to do number 5, I want you to start. Is it okay to have a fraction? Okay. When you have a fraction, then you just want to approximate that. Number 4. How do we find the x-intercept for number 4? You cover what? The y. X-intercept, y equals to 0. That means you cover the y. You are left with 5. X equals 8. Divide both sides by 5. Okay. X equals 8 over 5. That's as low as you can in improper, but sometimes easier to put it in mixed numbers so you can see where it is. What is that in mixed number? What is that in mixed number, not decimal? 1 and 3/5, okay? So order pair is going to be 1 and 3/5, comma 0. Now, I don't need an exact, okay, let me tell you right now, I don't need an exact location when you plot fractions or decimals. In between what two integers can I plot 1 and 3/5? 1 and 2, anywhere, class. Okay? It doesn't need to be exact. In between 1 and 2, just plot your dot. Okay? In between 1 and 2, just plot your dot. That is the x-intercept. Similarly, y-intercept, what do you cover? Y-intercept, that means x has to be 0, so the x term is completely gone. You have 2y equals 8. Divide both sides by -2. Y-intercept is at -4. How do we write that as an ordered pair? 0, comma, -4. We'll go and plot that guy, that dot, straight up your... Okay. Last example, I want you guys to finish that up in 2 minutes and then compare your answer with your team. Okay, so 2 minutes on the last example. Sorry. Once you have your x and y-intercept, can you compare the 2 points with your neighbors before you plot those? Because if the 2 points are wrong, then your graph will be wrong. So compare the 2 points first, please. Raise your hand if you can give me the point. I'm just going to get the final answer. What is your point for the x-intercept? Raise your hand. Volunteer. 7, comma 0. Someone confirm that for me? Perfect. Raise your hand if you can give me the point for the y-intercept.
0, 1, and 2/5.
0, 1, and 2/5. Someone confirm that as well? Perfect. Let's plot. 7, 2, 4, 6, 7, 7, comma 0. In between what two integers, class, should I plot 1 and 2/5? 1 and 2. So plot somewhere in the middle. And again, I don't, it doesn't need to be an exact. You just have to plot in between two integers. Okay. Any questions on reviewing graphing lines? You guys, is it coming back? Yeah, good. Okay. That's what we're doing a little bit quickly. Okay, next page. More reviews of lines. And you guys already know this, so this would be a quick. Okay. Rate of change. Rate of change, guys. What is that fancy for? Slope. Someone with me the formula for slope. y2. Minus y1. Perfect. If we are asked to find the domain, we are pretty much looking for all values of what? X. Yep. If it says find the domain, we are pretty much looking for all values of x. Okay? If you are asked to find the range, we're pretty much looking for all values of y. Okay? X and y-intercept, we just got done doing that. So if you're looking for an x-intercept, what do we substitute 0 for? Y. 0 for y. We substitute 0 for y and solve for x. Similarly for y-intercept, if we are looking for the y-intercept, we substitute 0 for x and then solve for y. Now this last one is new, so go ahead and copy that down, and then I want to explain it to you guys, okay? So the intervals, this one is new. So if we go ahead and finish copying, and then I'll explain it. Homework 8 is coming around, and I'm just going to wait for everyone to finish copying the intervals. Again, don't forget to number your homework. You will have so many assignments that when we order them, it will be difficult to do so if you don't start keeping track of what number they are now. Just another minute on copying the vocab. Okay. So intervals, class, you have right now, okay? Right now you have two kinds. We'll add more later. Right now you have two kinds of intervals. You have an increasing interval and a decreasing interval. So according to this, it's over what x values are the y values going up. And that's an increasing interval, okay? Going up means increasing interval. Over what x values are the y values going down? Going down means it's a decreasing. We're going to try to fill out these 5 boxes down here using the graph that we already did on the previous page. Number 1, we're going to fill out point use. What point did we use to start 1? Now look at back at the previous page. Where did we start in number 1? What point did we use? 0, comma. Yep. So anytime you see the word point, you're going to need to give me an x coordinate and a y coordinate. So for number 1, we started out with 0, comma 6. Okay, so that's what we fill in. And I apologize, I need to go back and forth between these 2 pages. So point use, we will fill in 0, comma 6. Are we able to find the rate of change right away on number 1? Yeah, what is it? Negative 1 over 2. That easy, okay? I'm trying to make this pen smaller in terms, there you go. Negative 1 over 2. What is the domain of that line? Okay. Do you guys remember domain? What are all the x values for that line? All real numbers. Okay. Do you guys remember how to write all real numbers using symbol? 2 lines on the R. Yep. 2 lines on the R and then make an R. So it's all real numbers. What are all values of y? Is the range. Also, all real numbers. Okay. What does that mean? That means you can you can have any y you want eventually. So all real numbers. Now we have to go back and see if we can eyeball the x-intercept or the y-intercept easily. Oh, by the way, tell me the y-intercept. Do we know what the y-intercept is? Yeah, it happens to be the same point that we use. So that was 0, 6. Now let's go back and see if we can see easily where the x-intercept was. If not, we would have to find it manually. Is it easy for us to know where the x-intercept is? Not really, okay, unless you have a really good counting skill right there. But is it okay to find the x-intercept since we're not sure what it is? How do we find the x-intercept if we're not sure what it is? Substitute what? Y for 0. All right, let's do it because I need to fill in that box on the bottom. X-intercept 0 equals -1/2 x plus 6. How do you solve for our x-intercept? How do we solve for x-intercept? How do we solve for x? I see a few of you already doing it on your paper. You just need to vote. You just need to tell me. How do you solve for x from here? How do you solve for x? I can't hear you, by the way, if you guys are mumbling. Logan, what'd you say?
6.
Subtract 6. Yeah, you guys have to be loud because I can't hear you. Subtract 6 from both sides. So -6 equals -1/2 x. How do we isolate x now? Multiply both sides by? What's the opposite of? Yeah, -2/1 to get rid of the entire fractions. Okay, so class, multiply both sides by -2/1. -2/1. What's a -2 times a -6? +12. How do we write that as a point? 12, 0. Thank you. Okay, so you guys just need to be awake. It's 0, period. It's going to be a long year if you guys are this quiet in this class. We're going to fill that in 12, 0. Okay. What does increasing interval mean? Okay. Increasing interval, meaning that we always go to the right of the number line. As we're going to the number line, to the right of the number line, what's happening to the y value? It has to go up. Decreasing interval. As we're going to the right on the number line, what's happening to the y value? It's going to go down. For linears, okay, for lines, it's one or the other. So let's look at your graph. Okay, again, we always go to the right of the number line. As we are taking a step to the right of the number line, what's happening to the y value? Going down. So is this line decreasing or increasing? Decreasing. And here's how we write it. We write from, which we're going to start open a quantity. Because this line has an arrow on the left, it goes on forever. We call that -infinity. Okay? And this line has an arrow to the right. That means it goes on forever. What number do we call that? Positive infinity. So that's a new notation. That's why I said let me just slowly explain that. So it's decreasing from -infinity all the way to what? Positive infinity. And we close it up with the other parentheses. Okay. This is read decreasing interval from -infinity to positive infinity. That means on the increasing interval, we are going to write NA. NA means what? Not applicable, because it's only, you can only have for lines, it's either decreasing or increasing or constant, okay? Page. All right. Number 2, point use. What point did we use? Yes. -7, -5. Beautiful. Do we know the slope? 2, 3. You're right. What is the domain of that line on number 2 that we graphed on the previous page? All real numbers. What's the range of that line that we graphed on number 2 of the previous page? Also all real numbers, okay? Now I'm about to flip back to the previous page so we can see whether we can locate the X and Y-intercept if they have any. So number 2. All right, here we go. Number 2, class, can you see anything on the X-intercept or the Y-intercept? No, so guess what we have to do? Calculate it ourselves. Ready? X int is when y equals to 0. 0 minus 5. Oh, by the way, can I just cover it up and then just get rid of that? Instead of writing 0 minus 5? Yeah, okay. Then let's do negative 5 equals 2 over 3 quantity x plus 7. What do you do next to solve for x? Distribute the 2/3. Very good. Can you also get rid of fractions? There are multiple ways. And if you like one method over the other, I will not discriminate your methods, okay? So 2/3 times x is 2/3 x. 2/3 times 7, that's really technically 7 over 1, if you want to think it like that. What's 2 times 7? 14. What's 3 times 1? Perfect. Let's clear out your fractions. How do we clear out your fractions, class? Multiply by the common denominator, since they're all 3, it is just 3. Negative 3 times 5, negative 5 times 3 is negative 15. 2/3 x times 3 is now just simply 2x. That's why we love multiplying by LCD. 14 over 3 times 3 is just now 14. Let's solve for x by subtracting both sides with 14. That's negative 29 equals 2x. Divide both sides by 2. X will be a negative 29 over 2. I will take improper. If you like mixed number, will I also take mix? Yep, I would take either. I would write both. That's really what? Negative 14 and 1/2? Someone confirm that for me? Yeah. So that's your X-intercept. I'll go and solve the Y-intercept as well, and then we'll fill it in the next chart, okay? Y-intercept is when x equals to what? 0. Y-int. X equals to 0. So y minus 5 equals 2 times 3. Oh man, if x is 0, what's left in the quantity? Just what? Just 7. Okay. Technically, you can think of it as 7 over 1 if that helps you multiply fractions. So y minus 5 equals 2 times 7 is 14 over 3. Do you guys want to clear out fractions now or just move the 5 over? Now? Okay. Multiply both sides by what? 3. So that's 5, oh not 5, I meant 3y's. Minus 15 equals to 14. Add both sides by 15. 3y equals to what? 29. Divide both sides by 3. Y comes out to, I will definitely accept 29 over 3. Or I will also accept mixed number, so 0, comma. What's the mixed number for 29 over 3? 9 times 3, what's 9 times 27, and then remainder of 2. Okay, so 9 and 2/3. Let's go fill those guys in. Ready? Some of you already filled that in. Some of you guys are way ahead of me. So, I went too far. There you go. All right, remind me of the X-intercepts again. What was that? X-intercept was negative 1/2, comma 0, and the Y-intercept was positive 9 and 2/3. Thanks, guys. Okay, look at the line. Ready? After taking a step to the right, what's happening to the Y value? Increasing. So that means decreasing is immediately non-applicable. Increasing from where to where? How do we write that? What does it start? Negative what? Negative infinity all the way to where? Positive infinity. Okay. That means it starts somewhere to the left side of the number line, but it goes on forever. We don't know. I'm going to pinch it in so you can see both of these parts. Let's see if we can complete number 3. Point use. What point did we use on number 3? You can pick, because we had 2 points to be exact on number 3. Do you want to write on there the x-intercept or the y-intercept on number 3? X-intercept? What was the x-intercept on number 3? Negative 6, comma 0. Remember, point used, meaning that if you have multiple points, you can pick whatever point you want to write on there. Whoa, we don't know the rate of change in this one, right? How do I find the rate of change? How do I find the slope? How do we find the slope? Let's fill in all the stuff that we can, and then we'll go back. What's the x-intercept again? Oops. Let's fill in the x-intercept. Negative 6, comma. What's the y-intercept? Negative 3? We found that. So someone confirm that for me. Was it 0, negative 3? 0, 8? 0, 0, 8. Let's talk about the range and the domain. What's the domain? All real numbers, right? Remember, the line that we had on number 3, it went on forever on x-axis. How about the range for number 3? Also all real numbers. Now, if you look at the graph, flip back to number 3. Every time you take a step to the right, look at number 3 for me. What's happening to the y? Did it go up or go down? Up. So that's increasing. Okay? That means it's increasing. So immediately we'll fill in NA for decreasing. But how do we write the increasing? Negative what? Negative infinity all the way to positive infinity. So class, we filled pretty much everything out except the rate of change, which is the slope. How do we find the rate of change? How do I identify it? Yeah, put it in the slope-intercept form, right? Here we go. Write it in y equals mx plus b form, if that will give you the slope right away. To write in that form, you would have to move what first? What are we moving first? I'm copying down the question. Move the 4x, you're right. Subtract 4x to both sides. Negative 3y equals negative 4x minus 24. Divide each and every term by negative 3. Y equals positive 4/3 x plus what? 8. You're right. Look at that. What's your slope now? 4/3.
Just do like the y2 minus y1 over x2 minus. Because I know 4/3.
Yes, you can totally do y2 minus y1 over x2. Yep, totally. Okay, 4. Let's fill out all the stuff we can fill. Ready? Let's start with the point we use. What point do you want to write? You have 2 choices. Okay, x-intercept, that means y is 0, so something comma 0. What was that? 1 and 3/5. Thank you. What's the domain? All real numbers. What's the range? Also all real numbers. We found the x-intercept at 1 and 3/5, comma 0. We also found the y-intercept, 0, comma what from the previous page? Negative 4. Thank you. All right. Every step that we are taking towards the right side, look at the y for me. Did it go up or did it go down? It went down. So this, down or up on number 4? Up. So that means decreasing is NA. Increasing, how do we write the interval for increasing? Negative infinity to positive infinity. Okay. Now, the only thing we have to do left is the rate of change. Do you want to write in y equals mx plus b, or do you want to use the y2 minus y1? Okay, you get to pick. You decide what you want to do. You pick a system and do it on your paper. I'll do it on my paper and see where we meet up. So. Did you guys have the same slope? 5 or 2? All right, last one. Let's see if we can fill that in. Point used. Give me either x or y-intercept. 7, 0. Rate of change, we'll find that later. Domain will be all reals. What's your range? You gave me the x-intercept of 7, 0. We'll fill that in. What was the y-intercept? 1 2/5. Thank you. Okay, as we're taking a step to the right, look at the graph. Did the y go up or down? Down, you said? Okay, so that is decreasing. That means NA for increase. Decreasing, how do we write that? Negative infinity to positive infinity. Okay. Now again, the rate of change, you can use y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, or you can write it in y equals mx plus b form. You can try that out, whatever system you're using. I'm okay with that, just as long as you look up here to see if we have matching answers, okay? Did you guys have a negative 1/5? Perfect. And that is the end of our day.